the famous. I like to set up things, I like to be winning, and I love to betray you, and I love to be sinning, but I'm instantly cheating as soon as you leave me, but I can't be resistant as long as I'm singing.
Hey, special edition today. It's not Sunday, but I told you, as things came up, I was going to get back to you with more videos or articles or whatever the case may be, and I got something today that I wanted to talk to you about. I did the weekly wrap-up yesterday, and then I did an article today about the Samsung phone, but I happened to catch a demo on the new Windows Mobile. It's not called Windows Mobile anymore. It's Windows Phone 7. Quite possibly the dumbest name they could have come up with, but I saw a demo on it, and I figured I need to talk to you about it because it's just absolutely terrible. So I have some notes here, some things that really bug me about it. Yeah, phone links. What the first thing that they were talking about is this guy who's doing the demo is saying that, you know, when you type something in, whether it's a phone number or an address or if it's an HTML page, it automatically recognizes it and you can click on it and then you can call people directly or go right to Bing for maps. And the lady was like, "Wow, it's right in there. I can just touch." What? Haven't we seen this for the past 3 years on the iPhone? Isn't that even an Android? Why is that cool? I mean, where's the wow factor? What are they talking about? Wow. Yeah, go get one now. Whatever. That's like the small part. Yeah, it's got a contact aggregator. So basically, you've got your Gmail, let's say your Gmail inbox that comes in on that phone, and you've got your phone contacts, and you've got your Facebook contacts, and all this stuff. So it aggregates it, and puts it all in your contacts. So basically, anybody that you've ever emailed is going to be in your contacts list. I don't like that. Why? You know, people I email on a daily basis. Not anybody I'm going to be calling or that I need at the touch of a button on my phone. Why is that? That's so stupid. I don't, man. You know what, Microsoft? You guys are trying, but you're really coming up short. It keeps going. What else is next? So the whole time during this, they keep showing the phone itself. Why they didn't have it up on, a screen behind them is just beyond me. But they didn't. Okay. So I'm looking at the actual phone itself. And at the top of the screen is this blinking, constantly, quickly, just battery flashing indicator that I swear was getting ready to send me into a seizure. Just, wow, so bad. I even called a friend of mine. I'm like, what'd you think of that battery? And he's like, yeah, that was bad. That was just, it's awful. No, let's go on down the list. No app icons. Let me explain to you what that means here in a minute. We're going to come back to that. No multitasking. They mentioned that it does. Well, they didn't mention it. I'm sure it does. I don't know. Microsoft. I don't know what you guys are doing. I just. This is like a terrible video because I can't even get my thoughts because it's just so ridiculous. Does it multitask? Every Windows phone always has it. The only thing it had going for it was multitasking, but they don't even mention it. In the beginning of his video, he talks about the fact that this one's not going to be only for productivity and the enterprise, but he doesn't mention the enterprise or productivity at all. So what sense does that make? It doesn't even seem good. I don't know. Very slow response. I mean, this poor guy, every time he would touch it, nothing would happen. He'd have to touch it again. So he's sitting there, he's holding it here, and he's like, see, so I'm going to touch this here. Okay. And then it would do it. He was smart enough to not say, oh, wait a minute, it's not working. Or he would swipe, and then nothing would happen. You have to do it again. So, I mean, it's not really released yet, and it's buggy, I'm sure. But if the UI, just moving around the home screen, doesn't work, doesn't bode well. Yeah, everything can be integrated. Social media is going to be integrated right into this thing. So I don't know what that means for individual stuff. That goes back to the UI that I was talking about. No app icons that I said I was going to come back to. So the home screen has what they call tiles. And all tiles really are, it's just the screen with a bunch of blue boxes on it. That's really it. And each box is labeled as something. but they're all the same. They're just blue boxes with like words or maybe a picture inside of it, but they're not icons of the app itself the way the iPhone or an Android phone or a Palm phone would have, or even Windows itself. The icons aren't icons, they're just these tiles. You can customize them so you can make them red tiles instead of blue tiles, or, green. If you want to get crazy, you could make them purple, I guess. But it's still just a box, single color with words on it. Doesn't do a whole lot for recognition of what you're about to get into. Everything's integrated. It's like your Facebook feed is integrated into the Me tile, and your Facebook photos are integrated into the Photos tile. So you've got photos on the phone, you've got photos on your Facebook, you've got all these different things in the photo section, just feeding in from one place to the other. So I get the integration of social media, but let's say you want to do something on Facebook specifically. They didn't talk anything about third-party apps, except for the fact that there will be. Now, I don't know what that means. I don't know how they're going to work, and especially the icons. What does that mean? What's going to happen here now? Am I going to have like a bunch of blue tiles on my home screen? And the way he was swiping, it was just from bottom to top, so scrolling like an infinite vertical scroll, no pages of things. Everything was very animated and slow to respond when you went into it, but just getting through sorting what you had was just this like vertical scroll. So if you do that, then we do have Facebook, let's say. And I'm going to have all my blue tiles with a Facebook icon, or is the Facebook icon going to be just another blue tile? Is that what we're looking at here? I mean, the UI is just absolutely terrible. The blinking battery is terrible. No mention of any productivity applications, which is really the only reason why you'd buy a Windows phone in the first place. It's called Windows Phone 7, which is pretty dumb, I think. The music and all that, the synchronization, it all uses ActiveSync, which works when it's the only thing that you've got, but very commonly third-party conduits for synchronization were put into play with older Windows mobile devices. And it's got Zune-type media synchronization on it too, and I haven't played with the Zune itself, so I can't really speak to that, other than the fact that the Zune has not really sold nearly as many as Microsoft would have hoped. So sticking with that model, I don't know if that makes sense either. So we're going to see more about this. There's no talk of when it's going to come out, when third-party applications are going to be able to be released, when apps are going to get their hands on an SDK for this. I don't know anything about any of this sort of stuff. It wasn't mentioned at all. They were just wowed over things that phones have done before, and wowed over things that phones really should never be doing in the first place, and just wowed over a crappy UI that's confusing and simple in the fact that there's nothing to it, not that it's easy. I mean, like, it's boring and doesn't incorporate any cool technology into it. So the one thing that I do have to say that they did here too, I'm getting short on time, the one thing that they did do that I thought was very cool is that they're taking strict control over the physical realm of this thing. It must meet very strict hardware guidelines. It has to have a requisite and no more than 3 buttons on the bottom: a back button, a start button, and a Bing search button. So the form factors will be very similar. Needs to meet a certain screen resolution. That stuff's all very cool for the very first time, because in the past we had the Compaq had the iPAQ, and then the HP had their handheld, and everybody else had their own handheld, and then Palm had a Trio with Windows Mobile on it. You had a billion different physical form factors with all kinds of button setups and physical parts internally, all trying to match up with one OS, and it failed miserably. So this time, I guess, if the hardware's got to meet guidelines, they're using a closed format the way the iPod, the iPad, the iPhone has had. I think maybe it'll give Microsoft more control. The OS will work. So it'll be stable, but it'll be a stable, boring piece of shit, I guess is the idea. So at least your junk won't crash, but it won't be cool. I don't know. So I was going to type it up in an article, but you guys had an article today, and I didn't want to overburden you with reading too much. I didn't want to wait till tomorrow, so I figured I'd zip this out real quick. So, sorry if it seems rushed and thrown together, but it's all I had. So, that's it. If you have anything, questions about this, you know how to get in touch with me on Twitter, Facebook, iTunes, YouTube, Vig the Geek, Examiner. Just go ahead and give me a shout, and we'll talk more about this, and I'll have something nice and polished for you next week like I always do. All right, I'll see you guys Sunday.